to watch Andre Drummond before the game sit on the sideline, then go to the bat, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer.
Chris, there's a lot there. Does Draymond have a point?
Well, first, let me say, look, I'm all for player empowerment. I love that LeBron James has shown players how to take their career destiny into their own hands. And I think that's going to be part of LeBron's legacy. And I think Draymond made some great points. I think we didn't see it in that clip, but players should not be fined, I don't believe, for making a public trade demand if a team like the Cavaliers or the Detroit Pistons aren't fined for making it public that they're trading a player.
Right.
I also think that, I think that Draymond also talked about loyalty and how players are, the mental strain it puts on them when they're traded. I've had players tell me that because they heard trade rumors, they went to the GM and said, is this true? Do I need to get, I got a family, my kids are in school. Do I need to start getting ready to be traded? And the GM has told them, no, just lied directly to their face. And 2 days later, they're traded. So I get where he's coming from in that respect as well. And I think he makes a good point with that. So fans should not expect that type of loyalty from players. Don't get mad at LeBron James when he leaves Cleveland or, Kevin Durant leaves OKC. If you want to criticize him for going to a stacked team, that's one thing. But I don't think it's fair to criticize them for playing out their contract and then leaving when a team trades a guy, there's not the same stuff, loyalty expected. So that said, though, I think that Draymond missed a few things, too. One, we're in a society where there are employers and there are employees. And in most cases, the person that writes the check is going to have final say on most decisions. That's just how it goes. Now, there are a few employees that have enough juice that they can kind of buck that trend to some degree, a LeBron James maybe. However, even LeBron, what did LeBron say when he talked about the All-Star game? He doesn't want to go. He said, look, I don't want to play, but
because they lied to him.
I'll be there physically, but not mentally.
Did they not lie to him?
He's going to go because he understands nobody really lives in a vacuum. We all have to answer to people for the most part. Now, the other thing I'll say is this. I think Draymond's missing that this is actually beneficial for Andre Drummond and players in his position, because the Cavaliers could just bench Drummond and say, look, we're going young, we're going to play Jared Allen, and we're benching him. That would hurt him going into free agency this summer, because then instead of being viewed as a guy that averages 17 points and 13 rebounds a game, which is, good numbers and gets you a good contract, he could be viewed as a guy who got benched and no longer has it. Or if they play him 15 minutes a night because they want to go young, his numbers plummet, and then in free agency, teams are not looking at you as 17 and 13. They're looking at you as a reserve off the bench who gives them 9 and 5. So it actually benefits Andre Drummond. And from what I'm told, he understands that for him to just sit out and let teams still view him as that borderline all-star big man. So Draymond made some good points, but I think he missed a few things as well.
First of all, everybody views Andre Drummond as being archaic. because he doesn't shoot the three, he doesn't shoot the mid-range game, and they say the rebounders are skewed because a lot of times he's chasing rebounds and his guy gets the rebound and lays it back in. So people looking at him as a true five like Joel Embiid, that's not going to happen. And everybody knows that if he were to be sitting on the bench, they know why he's sitting on the bench, because they're moving in a younger direction and they choose not to play him. But you can't say you want loyalty from me, yet you give me no loyalty. Hold on. You say the employee, I get all of that. But if I say I want an opportunity to seek for an opportunity like James Harden says, I want to go win. I don't have what it takes here to win. Why you get upset at me? Why the fans get upset? And I think from a fan perspective, the owners have done a great job of convincing the fans that the billionaires are right and the millionaires are wrong. Yeah, you got upset, but LeBron James has never requested a trade. LeBron James fulfilled his obligation, bounced as a free agent. So did KD. But what did they do to AD? Didn't they find AD $50,000 when he voiced he wanted a trade, and they signed him? So why did they do that? I thought you tried to win.
Well, my main problem with Harden was, I have a few things. One, with the way he handled Houston. One, he didn't look in the mirror. All right, he didn't take responsibility for some of those playoff games where they had a chance to win and get to the finals, and he didn't look in the mirror. Two, I didn't like the way he went at his teammates.
Yes.
Like, he was talking about John Wall and Eric Gordon.
Boogie, yeah.
Like, they were trash. He didn't mention their names, but he was like, I don't have nothing here. And I'm like, they deserved a little bit more respect. And thirdly, we hear all this talk about wanting more black coaches, particularly in NFL, but still, in the NBA too, wanting more black coaches. And then Steven Silas, who paid his dues for 20 years. You didn't even give him the respect to really give it a shot.
Give him a chance.
Look, Harden ended up doing what he had to do to get out of Houston. And I'm not thinking about Houston anymore. I'm glad he's in Brooklyn because it's fun to watch. However, those were the things that bothered me about the way Harden handled it, more so than him wanting out of Houston on his own merit.
Skip, before you go, I want to say one thing. You said that James Harden need to look in the mirror. Detroit need to look in the mirror. Because didn't they trade for Blake Griffin? Cleveland needs to look in the mirror. Didn't they trade for Andre Drummond? They did that, right? So they need to look in the mirror and say, okay, we might need to look at how we evaluate players moving forward and what we think in order of building a championship caliber team. Take it away, Skip.
Okay. I'm with Chris in that I'm all for player empowerment. But if they want real power, they have to negotiate for it. And they ceded all these rights in collective bargaining. They gave all this up. And they do have these things called contracts. You got one, I got one, Chris, everybody's got one. And we have to play by those rules. We cannot just say, I want out. You just can't do it, okay? So I did not condemn James Harden for wanting out of Houston. I don't think I was that hard on him. He pulled it off. AD pulled it off. Blake is pulling it off in Detroit. He just wants out, and they're going to buy him out. I don't know. They're going to try to trade him first, see how that all goes. But the point is, these players have a lot of movement power. They can flex their muscles and do things that a lot of NFL players have not been able to do to date, right?
No.
Okay, so I can't work up a huge amount of pity for Andre Drummond, calling it a travesty how they're treating him, because they're just saying, we moved on with Jared Allen. We're going to try to move you to a better place, that they would hope. It could be with the contender. It could be a salary dump because he makes $28.8 million.
I'm not giving you anything for Andre Drummond, Skip, and he's a free agent at the end of the year and can leave.
Well, unless you're the Nets, let's say, and you need that piece, and you say, he could get us over the hump.
Right, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, the Lakers. I don't know. Do the Lakers, could they use Andre?
Yeah.
Yes, they could.
I think that everybody's waiting on the buyout.
Okay, probably waiting on the buyout.
Right.
But if you want to jump to the head of the line,
Right,
you might want to give something.
Give him a second rounder.
Okay, you might. But my point is, so they just said, why would we force him to go sit at the end of the bench in uniform? We'll just tell him, just take the night off. You're in your ninth year.
Ninth year is good. Okay. Is he 30?
Okay, but you're making they're not saying we're going to cut your salary. They're going to pay him whatever you make per night on $28.8 million. It's pretty good money.
That's great money.
Andre Drummond in what's that, Chris?
He's still getting paid.
No, he's getting paid.
Yeah.
And over his career, he's made $136 million, and he's pretty good. He's led the league in rebounding 4 times. You can discount those stats all you want. But to me, in the end, I don't exactly know what Draymond's ranting about, except if you want more power, next time your deal comes up in collective bargaining, fight for it.
Look, Skip,
Sit for it.
Hold on, Chris. You talking about the All-Star game. Now, they said they were going to have 72 games. They wanted to start before Christmas. They wanted to start a couple of days before Christmas. There was not going to be an All-Star game. If that was not what was said, yes or no? I just need to know. Was that what was not said? There will be no All-Star game. We're going to give the guys an opportunity to March 5th through the 10th to take timeouts because we had a fast turnaround. And what did they turn around and do? So you lied.
But Shannon, to Skip's point, they're not doing this without the Players Association agreeing to it.
I understand, but
What the league did is that the players are. If Chris Paul and the association nixed it, I don't know that they'd be having an All-Star game. But what they showed them is, look, we're gonna make a lot more money if we have this All-Star game, and that's gonna trickle down to the players. And so that's why they're doing it.
But the thing is, so you can't have it both ways. We're concerned with COVID, but we're going to put all our greatest basketball players in one central location at one time, and we're just going to pray and hope for the best.
It's called capitalism. That's what we are.
Okay? I understand.
And I'm shocked LeBron didn't have more juice. I thought he had that kind of juice to say, no,
I can assure you they did not confer with LeBron before they made this decision because they already knew what he was going to say. So it's best to apologize and ask for permission.
Okay, but to his credit, he said, I don't like it, but I'll be there.
Yeah, okay. LeBron is always going to do what's in the best interest of the. He's going to take one for the team because they're like you heard what he said, and then Giannis came out and said.